Hello everyone, it's Queen V and I'm back to you with another video. This video is an update to the Troy Koehler story. Before I begin, I would like to extend my continued support and condolences to the community and loved ones of Troy Koehler. According to reports, Tiffany Thomas has been sentenced to 10 years in prison for her involvement after her 7-year-old adoptive son was found unalived in a washing machine in their home back in July 2022, according to court documents. According to officials, Troy Koehler was reported missing by his mother, Tiffany Thomas, after she returned home from work at 5 a.m. in the 400 block of Rosegate in the Birmingham Wood subdivision. Officers arrived and interviewed the child's parents, Tiffany Thomas and Jermaine Thomas. Hours after the missing persons report was submitted and interviews, investigators searched the home, leading officers to make a gruesome discovery. Troy Koehler's body was found just before 8 a.m. inside a top-load washer in the garage. An autopsy determined that Troy Koehler had been beaten, suffocated, and possibly drowned by Jermaine Thomas, allegedly. Both Tiffany and Jermaine Thomas were taken into custody and appeared in court the next day. 4 months later, the parents were charged with Troy Koehler's unaliving after court records revealed graphic text messages detailing how Jermaine said he was going to unalive the 7-year-old child. The text thread between them reportedly began after Tiffany stated that she was upset the child hadn't confessed to stealing her snacks. Prosecutors would go on to state that Tiffany Thomas contributed to the chronic abuse of Troy Koehler by not protecting him from Jermaine Thomas, the child's father, and or mistreating and hurting him as well. Texas Child Protective Services confirmed to Eyewitness News that Troy Koehler was a foster child who was adopted by the family in 2019. CPS investigated the family twice for physical abuse before Troy Koehler's unaliving. Records also reveal that the school alerted officials after noticing facial bruises. Jermaine Thomas was charged with capital homicide and his bond was set at $2 million, while Tiffany Thomas's bond was set at $150,000 but was raised a year later to $300,000 following a charge of injury to a child by omission. During the trial, Troy Koehler's first grade teacher delivered a victim impact statement on behalf of Troy Koehler. She would read in part, "It was my privilege to have him in my class. He was special to me and he mattered to me." As previously reported, Jermaine Thomas would plead guilty and was sentenced to 50 years in prison this past summer. Again, condolences to Troy Koehler and the community affected by the loss of this baby. These are my thoughts. 10 years is not enough for this monster's participation in this tragedy, alongside her spouse, who is also a monster. They participated in the mistreatment, in the harm, and the neglect of this baby over some oatmeal, cream pies, and donut sticks? Really? Some snacks. This baby lost his life over some snacks. You adopted this baby, and instead of fostering him into your home and ensuring his safety and nourishment, you took it upon yourself to be the judge, jury, and ultimately executioner of this baby. There were numerous reports of abuse, and yet Troy's safety and well-being were denied. Troy Koehler should be living and enjoying his childhood. Instead, another community member has lost their life because we're simply not paying attention. How many more Troy Koehlers in the system right now who are being denied because the adults who are supposed to advocate on their behalf are not listening and are not paying attention? We can no longer ignore the signs and not acknowledge the biases set against Black children and how they are treated when allegations of abuse are being reported when they are the victims. We can no longer cite staff being overworked or an oversight due to caseloads. The system must also take accountability for their part in their negligence in this tragedy as well. But as usual, no one wants to take responsibility for a life loss, and they will make up any and all excuses on why this occurred. But I pose this question again. How many Troy Koehlers are being affected right now because the system, which has advocates for these babies, are not being heard when allegations are brought up? We as a society have lost out on our future accountants, future lawyers, judges, policies, governors, directors, authors, artists, scientists, professors, teachers, business owners, activists, actors, musicians, journalists, innovators. The possibilities are endless. We are losing out on so much precious lives because we as a society, we as community members are not paying attention. As community members, it is our duty to look out for our future. Now, I understand why some persons are in the mindset of it's not my child, it's not my business. But we must get out of that mindset because these babies are suffering and are paying the price with their lives because we are not doing our due diligence and not paying attention. If we continue to deny these children a fighting chance, we will continue to lose out, not only as a community, but as a society moving forward. Our children deserve the very best, and they deserve to live their best lives. And we must, I repeat, we must speak up when these unfortunate tragedies occur. Silence is no longer an option. I will leave in the comments and description below for hotlines and organizations as it pertains to child mistreatment and child negligence. And as always, protect Black children, known and unknown. Say their names. Say his name, Troy Koehler. Justice for Troy Koehler. And as always, please be safe out here, and I will see you in the next video.